graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Hey, this is John Schnepp, director of The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, Metalocalypse, ABCs of Death, a whole bunch of other things, and you are listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast.
Where's Batman?
Fuck Batman. Go talk to her, idiot. Drink first. No, you stupid alcoholic. Talk to your daughter. You're ruining her. You know that, right? No matter what, your poison is already in her. There's nothing you can do. That's not true. Yeah, it is. You stupid piece of shit. You're a real stupid piece of shit. And everywhere you go, you destroy people. Of course your mother never loved you. What do you expect? That's why Sarah Lynn died. That's why Charlotte will never forgive you. What are you going to do to Hollyhock? What are you going to do, asshole? Shut up!
Your podcast, we're fans.
It's just a coincidence that you were talking about the Jack and Triumph show, and I'm here. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, guy who makes all those unlistenable podcasts over at smodcast.com, and you're listening to the Two Strangers, One Podcast. This is podcasting.
You're listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net. Now, here's Chris Cologne and Paul Pasquillo.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And once again, what else is new that we took another fucking month off to put out another episode?
That's my fault.
Life gets in the way, but we're back. Let's see, what do these people have in common? Chris Hardwick, Roseanne Barr, James Gunn. I know there's got to be a couple more. Well, not Dan Harmon. People who've gotten in trouble.
Sexual harassment.
People.
Even worse than that, I guess.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
People who've gotten in trouble for saying things who got caught saying things they weren't supposed to be saying, and potentially lost work for it.
Yes.
So I think, since our last time we recorded, San Diego Comic-Con came and went. I think we recorded right before it started.
Yeah.
And so since then, I've had all this San Diego Comic-Con news. Let's talk about it. But literally, right before Comic-Con, Disney announced that they're firing James Gunn for inappropriate tweets that he had put out literally 10 years ago. Right before the episode, I was just doing a little research, and these are things that as of now, August 28th, 2008 was one of the when the tweets went out. So let me see.
August?
Yeah.
August 28th?
Well, I mean, it's not August 28th now, but I mean, we're damn near close to.
Oh, you mean August 28th when he said all that stuff?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay. It's in 2 weeks, these comments that he said are 10 years old. And let me see, I had it over here where he says, he was talking about the movie Expendables. He goes, Expendables is so manly, I fucked the shit out of the pussy boy next to me. The best thing about being raped is when you're done being raped, you're like, woo, this feels great not being raped.
Okay.
Let me see, what else? I remember my first NAMBLA meeting. It was the first time I felt okay with being who I am.
I think the mouse doesn't like those kinds of things.
Yeah, I'm doing a big Hollywood film adaptation of The Giving Tree with a happy ending. The tree grows back and gives the kid a blowjob. Let me see.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Let me see. I want to go big game hunting, but it's morally questionable. So I'm going to split the difference and go big game raping. And
I mean, this is 10 years ago, and that shit it would have been funny 10 years ago, but it's I guess what the problem here is we're now part of this movement of insensitivity, so it's kind of oh, well, you said this 10 years ago, yeah, you can't be around us.
And I just wanted to finish with my favorite. Laughter is the best medicine. That's why I laugh at people with AIDS.
Oh, my God.
So and let me tell you, this is probably why I'll never be famous or a director or anything like that, because anyone could just go back to listen to the old podcast episodes, hear my voice recorded saying some of the most horrible fucking things that they've ever heard. But once again, like you just said, this is stuff that was said 10 years ago, And and when Disney hired him, like, this is a guy who came from the Trauma, like, the movie Trauma, Toxic Avenger, and Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD, and what he did, Killer Condoms, and like, this is a studio that was known for making movies that were very risky, very edgy, very offensive. And, like, you hired... And, I mean, yeah, okay, he kind of transitioned. He was doing... He did, like, the Scooby-Doo movies. And he did Super with Rainn Wilson. It came out the same time, like, Kick-Ass came out, where Rainn Wilson dressed up like a superhero and he was hitting people with a fucking monkey wrench. And he was like, "Shut up, crime."
Not ringing any bells.
It's right, the guy that played Dwight from The Office. And it's like, those are weird movies. I mean, Scooby-Doo was trying to be family friendly, but he threw in, like, weed references in Scooby-Doo. In Scooby-Doo Part 2, like, Shaggy meets a girl named Mary Jane. And, like, oh, that's the coolest name I ever heard, man.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is a guy with edge, and you're going to hire him. And plus, like, he's obviously changed since then, and part of me, I kind of heard a thing and I looked into it a little bit. I feel a little bit of this was politically motivated because if you follow, I've liked Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is like top 3 best Marvel movies, and in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And so when I started following James Gunn, and he's very anti-Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's very, like, he'll... So there are some people that feel that what was the people that are pro-Trump dragged up all this stuff from his past, like, to kind of, like,
Yeah, but I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I really didn't see anything until, like, all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, James Gunn just got fired."
Well, no, that's what I'm saying is that, like, but I mean, I was following him, and I'm just saying his regular postings, he would bash Trump on the regular. So
they all do. I mean, I there's so many voice actors and actresses that do that on a daily basis.
Yeah, I mean, but he's a big, when you're working for Disney, then not to downplay any of the voice actors, but he's more of a household name, I guess. And
True.
And he's a big fish to take
True.
out, and it's sort of like, look at us flex our power, like, you insult the president.
So if James Gunn is a victim of Republicans, is a victim of Democrats, is Chris Collins the reverse?
Oh, Chris Collins, the
who
guy
just got indicted the other day, like yesterday, literally.
Like, he represents, like,
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
He represents mostly Buffalo. Yeah.
But there are parts of Rochester that
there might be. Yeah.
And he was like the Democrat that, like,
he's a Republican.
He's a Republican.
Yeah.
Then why I thought Chris he was a Democrat. Like,
no.
But he was like the first person to endorse Trump or something.
He was the first person to endorse Trump. Yeah, but the reason I make that comparison is like, it seems like every time somebody gets taken out, so to speak, something else happens. So it's like, okay, well,
it's like a tit for tat kind of a deal.
Yeah. So,
that being said, like, another name I mentioned earlier, which I did a teeny tiny bit of research on, Dan Harmon. Dan Harmon had to apologize for, once again, a sketch that's like 10 years old that he did for his Channel 101.
Yeah.
And he said it was like a Dexter parody, and they show him, like, quote unquote simulating rape on a doll.
Oh, God.
Like a baby doll, like an infant doll or something. And and it's so weird because, like, Dan Harmon, like, right now, like, the big announcement earlier this year was, like, for all the, Rick and Morty fans, Adult Swim orders 70 episodes. Like, so, like, even if he puts out, 10 episodes a year, he'll be working for the next 10 years or something like that. And it's like, and, there's Rick and Morty merch in fucking Walmart and GameStop and Spencer's Gifts. And it's like, people seem to forget that did you ever see the original Doc and Marty sketch that Rick and Morty's based on?
Oh yeah, it's bad.
Bad. He gets Doc gets Marty to lick his balls like an old man, and it's not like Marty was like 18 or something like that. Like, he's played like a teenager.
Let's not even use that example. Use the example of that one episode where Morty gets to pick the adventure, and and they're at a restaurant where Morty goes to the bathroom, and that alien almost rapes him.
Oh yeah. But I mean, like,
and you want to sit there and go, well, you know, we never really saw that. Shut up. He put it in an episode of Rick and Morty. Come on.
I mean, it's offensive, but I mean, like, and then he depicts it of a young boy looking at old man's balls, like, that's a crime. Even though it's a joke and stuff like that. And once again, it's a tasteless joke. But, so what they were saying is that, this stuff about Dan Harmon, they said that stuff came up on 4chan after Roseanne Barr got fired for, you know, saying that. Oh, I know. Someone looked like somebody from
I mean,
it's
revenge because, you know, it's like we have to go after every single person for everything you say. Mm-hmm. So the problem, that's why I don't want to ever be like a famous person or a political person, because I feel like anything and everything you say will be used against you. Yeah. And I don't know what I said like 10 years ago. I could have told somebody to suck my balls for all I care, and fucking, Paul said that he told this person to suck his balls. You can't hire him.
Yeah, with this podcast, like, I could never do anything.
So, I mean, you know, it's kind of bad. I would say kind of this is, you were talking about Chris Hardwick, yeah. So, isn't he's getting his show back?
Well, that's the whole thing, is that, like, it's funny. I was so happy that he lost his empire, but I guess I'm wrong, because he's getting the Talking Dead show back on.
Here's and correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong about this, but they went to interview her and she wouldn't talk to anybody?
Yeah, I think like she had basically said, I want to move on with my life. And, you know, but of course before she moves on with her life, she had to get in that article and say
and that's kind of like, so I'm not saying, like, I'm not, you know, siding with anybody on that, but it's, to me, this is kind of, I actually brought this up on Twitter one day. I think there needs to be a protection in these instances for, and I hate to say it, but it's happening more to guys than girls. I mean, Roseanne Barr is kind of, I mean, she that is definitely an extreme example of a woman really, like, asking to get fired, basically. Mm-hmm. But I really think men, and not to be sexist, need to have some kind of security for themselves in an HR situation like this to be able to be protected, because I kind of feel like a lot of this shit is brought up, but, like, for example, George Takei, there was shit brought up against George Takei. Guess what? It went away. Mm-hmm. Nothing happened from it, because guess what? He didn't do anything. Yeah. But he got accused, and for a while there, everybody was like, oh, he's a whatever, he's an asshole or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you understand what I'm saying? Like, there's got to be some due process here. Yeah. There's got to be a process here where we say, look, let's not go with what is being said here. Let's do an investigation. Let's find out who it is, and then let's go from there. Look at CBS. Their CEO that just apparently he's said bad things, or what did he do? He didn't say bad things about women. Like, he was there. I guess there was a couple situations where he had said, you need to do a sexual favor for me, and the women said no, and they got fired apparently. By the way, I have a business administration degree, bachelor's degree in business administration. That's a big no-no. Big no-no. Big fucking no-no. You don't do that. But they're not just sitting there going, okay, you're fired. They're sitting there going, okay. And they're probably doing it because this CEO happens to be very important, obviously. You know, they're sitting there going, let's do an investigation. By the way, we're going to do, this investigation is going to be from an outside firm. We're going to let them do their job, and then we'll come back and we'll tell you what the results are. And if he's guilty, he's gone. Yeah. That's kind of what should be done. Now, the argument is always, well, they could be giving them money to shut up. I mean, yes, there's that possibility too, but the problem here is if you don't give somebody the due process, they're going to come back and sue you because you have no evidence. Because guess what? People need to feed their families here. I'm not saying that there isn't any bad guys. What's his name there that's in court now? What was he involved in? I can't. It's not Bryan Singer. It's who was it? He basically was a lot of actresses and came forward about him.
Oh, you mean Harvey Weinstein?
Harvey Weinstein. Mm-hmm. That's an example of, okay, there's evidence. We know the evidence. We have all these actresses and all these actresses coming out and saying, yes, he did this. Mm-hmm. Okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Not as now, like George Takei and some of these other people, it's, to me, there's got to be a due process here. And I feel like as a society, we got to kind of slow our roll with all this Me Too movement and everything and kind of come up with a system where people aren't going to get hurt. Because you got to remember, a lot of people have families. Mm-hmm. And those families get hurt by that person not having anything to pay to take care of their family with. Yeah. Okay, now the argument could be made, well, they already have millions and millions of dollars. Dude, they probably blown all millions and millions of dollars. So just, I feel like we need to kind of slow the roll and just have some kind of process. And it should be for both men and women.
I don't pull out the torches,
exactly,
pitchforks and torches,
exactly.
And it's weird because like I totally agree with you, but like I was so happy when Chris Hardwick got fired. I'm happy when Papa John's gets fucking, taken down.
Well, and here's the interesting part. Here's I was thinking about this because if you notice, there's no more Papa John's here in Rochester. Mm-hmm. The guy that owned them shut them all down. And I was like, why the fuck did he shut them all down? And then I went, that's right. Because of what's his name saying those comments, he was probably like, I don't want to work for a guy that does this anymore. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's why he shut them all down. Mm-hmm. They haven't said anything about if they're going to open any more up. But I never was like a really fan of Papa John's anyways.
Yeah, I never liked the food. That's the whole thing is that like if it's somebody I don't like and they lose their career, I'm like, yes.
But see, here's another thing. Here's an example of somebody going back and suing the company and saying, guess what? You fired me, but you had no evidence. Now, I'm not saying that the CEO of Papa John's, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Papa John's wasn't guilty, but it was just like, you can't, if you don't have the evidence and you just fire somebody, they can come back and sue you and get a shitload of money.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a due process here. That's what I feel like. By the way, so I guess this kind of, unless you want to continue with these guys.
Well, no, I know, because I just wanted to talk about like just real quick, like I do admire that for James Gunn's situation, that all the cast
I didn't want to
got
talk
together
about that,
and they stood their ground and they're like, look, people change. He said this stuff 10 years ago. He's shown a lot of personal growth.
Batista has been very big.
And I was listening, and like right now we're at a point where like Batista, like I think he's contractually obligated to do it, and he's like, the only reason I'm here is because my contract is making me stay here. But like I don't know if he finds a way to kind of like back out of it, like. And don't get me wrong, it's not like Disney needs Drax.
Well, yeah, everybody's been making that joke.
It's sort of like, especially after like Infinity War and everybody's dead or whatever, they don't necessarily need him. But I like the fact that he's sticking to his guns because also, even though he did a couple of movies before Guardians of the Galaxy, but like James Gunn like really gave him his big break, and I like the fact that he's going and all these Chris Pratt, he was on Parks and Rec, but he was like a fat guy on Parks and Rec. Like James Gunn said this guy's a fucking leading man. Zoe Saldana, who she had Star Trek and
she's had a lot of
Columbiana
films,
and stuff like that. But like I feel that Guardians of the Galaxy kind of gave her that. Like, that was, like, her big push.
I'm going to be honest with you. I hate to disagree with you on that. I think Star Trek was more of her big push. I think she actually gained a lot more.
I'm an asshole. Avatar. I forgot you
was an Avatar. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well,
Avatar.
But I'm just saying, he gave he gave all these guys kind of like a big break.
Right.
And I'm glad that they stood up. At the very least, like, they didn't, like, just, like, say... like hold their mouth, they stand by.
They signed a petition.
Yeah,
they signed a petition. Like literally, that goes no more farther. Like Disney should literally be looking at this and going,
it's Disney on the phone for you. And we're back, and so now Paul can't talk about Disney anymore. They just bought the podcast. Shit, I wish.
We were spoiled. No, so Disney basically... Disney should pretty much be bringing this man back because here's the problem. I know that Disney's the evil empire and they can probably do whatever they want, but it would also make them look good if they said, look, we don't like the comments that he made, and, after consideration and talking with the actors, we feel like James Gunn is what we need for this movie, and we also feel like, he has become a changed man after all these comments.
Yeah, like they could kind of. I mean, after whatever we do to get through Infinity War Part 2, and we get our characters back.
Yeah,
they can roundabout make it like a storyline. Like have like Star-Lord have to redeem himself or something. You could kind of write it into the movie.
Not even that. He does have to kind of redeem himself, if you know what I mean.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, honestly, to be honest with you, I think that it's more that he's, I don't know, it's more to me that they need to kind of just let this happen. I mean, this is going to be the third film, so technically, really, you could just start with a new director for the next trilogy.
Yeah. Well, my thing is, I want James Gunn to come back. I feel Disney.
No, they probably won't.
They have such power and influence, and also if let's just say Disney caves in on this, well, then I think that's gonna set a precedent where anytime they make an announcement that people don't like, people will protest, and then Disney will feel obligated to respond. I think if they say "fuck you" now, then it'll stop. People
yeah, but here's what you're not thinking about. What happens if Batista goes and then the whole other cast starts going with him?
Oh yeah, if the whole cast goes, then they don't have a
they don't have a chance. They have to bring him back, and I feel like that may actually happen.
I want him to come back. I have a bad feeling that he's not.
And kind of so this is kind of getting into another subject that we wanted to talk about because we really haven't had any things.
Okay, well, there's two more things about this. Okay. One, they wanted us. They said, let's just say Disney sticks by their guns and they don't rehire James Gunn. Who would take the mantle? And I think the two super obvious choices. One would be Taika Waititi from Thor Ragnarok because he definitely borrowed a lot of that vibe from Guardians of the Galaxy of making a funny, action-packed, fun
I still haven't seen that one, by the way.
You haven't seen Ragnarok? Oh my god.
Dude, you gotta understand something, man. I am so far behind in the movie point, it's not even funny. It's because, I'm working so much that it's just that's probably part of my problem, but, I work so much that it's kind of I have no time to go see. People joke with me. They're like, do you even get to use your free movie privileges? I was like, no, everybody else does. Because I don't fucking use it. I can't even do that anymore. That's the problem, too. But, but what I was saying,
people say Taika Waititi, because Thor Ragnarok clearly borrowed a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy when it comes to, one being an outer spaceman, and then two, the other option was the Russo brothers.
That's what I was going to say.
Because they've written and directed Guardians of the Galaxy, for Infinity War, their characters and stuff like that. So that would see, in my opinion, that would be more of the safe choice, the Russo brothers.
I think that's what they're probably going to do.
But also, the Russo brothers, they haven't expressed any interest. Because it's a weird thing.
Well, so Batista said, the newest thing I think he said was, if they don't use the script that James Gunn had, then he'll definitely be walking. Mm-hmm. And he wants out of his contract. So my feeling is that if the Russo brothers were to come in, use his script, put their touch on it, I think they would be fine. But then, they kind of, it comes back to where, again, I kind of, we were talking about due process. James Gunn should be suing Disney right now. I honestly should be suing Disney. That's a job that he just lost for a comment that was made 10 years ago. I can find a lawyer that will get me money because of you trying to kick me out for 10 years ago. Guess what? They'll settle. They'll shut the hell up. and they'll give him his money anyway.
Especially that he said that before they hired him.
Exactly.
They should have done their due diligence.
Dude,
hiring. Like, if they hired him, they should have had, I mean, it's sad that they had to say that, but like, nowadays, if you're going to hire somebody, you kind of have to dig a little.
When you do it,
he came from fucking trauma.
Most businesses, they do a background check on somebody. They go to Twitter, they go to Facebook, and by the way, that's why, like, I mean, my Twitter is public now, but it used to be private because I didn't want people to see what the fuck I was saying. Now, and that's the thing. They probably, if I had a background check now, I don't think that it would be any problems because I'm not really saying anything derogatory or anything. But it's like, you obviously have a process of doing things. If you had a process, why did you not go and look at Twitter, go look at Facebook, and say, "Oh my God, he made these comments. Let's not do this." Yeah. You didn't. That's your fault. And that's where a lawyer comes in and says, "By the way, you didn't do your due process. Give my fucking client money, or we're going to take you through the court system." Yeah. And Disney's a little bitch like Fox and everybody else. They'll be like, "Oh, let's just settle this and give you money," because they have so much money. Yeah. So I think he should do that. Honestly, I think he should sue them. And
I think he's waiting to see what they do.
Yeah, I think he's waiting to see.
If they start filming without him, then he calls his lawyer. But he's sort of like he's just waiting for that phone to ring. Like
exactly.
Oh boy!
I mean, for all we know, he will get. He may even still get paid. Yeah. It might be in the contract. So
probably
So if he doesn't do anything, I assume that's what it is. So.
Hey James, it's Mickey Mouse. We're gonna want you to come back, okay? So we're gonna pay you anyway. Might as well just have you write and direct the movie. And we gave in to the fans. Okay, bye. All right. So
you do that very eerily well. I do. So go away. Don't get out of my house.
So where did you want to go from here with the?
So I was trying to kind of spin this back into because this happened a couple weeks ago. Hulk Hogan.
Hey brother.
Hulk Hogan came back. Came back into the Hall of Fame. Surprisingly, a lot of the black wrestlers were kind of accepting of him, but I was really really surprised by Mark Henry. But like Titus O'Neil, the New Day, those guys, they weren't. I mean, they were like yes, but no, kind of. So it's like I really like for me. I think, honestly, if any guy gets a pass, I would say Hulk Hogan gets a pass. And here's my explanation about this, okay? First of all, the comments that he made, again, 10 years, what was it? It was like 10, 15 years ago.
It was, and it's funny because this story of him coming back, it was literally like 2 or 3 years, almost to today, because him being fired came up in my Facebook memories. Yeah, and so almost to the day that now, and I'm glad he's back. But the original comments were made just about 10 years ago. From like an illegally recorded conversation that was also illegally.
That's
released.
The thing, and that's number one. Like
Gawker,
Gawker, who's no longer around because that brother took their ass down. Like. There's a perfect example of a guy that did exactly what he should have done, due process wise. You fucking did something. You weren't supposed to put the goddamn tape up. You did. Now you're gonna pay the price. And he got all the money. He basically got all the money that he probably would have made from WWE for those years. So for me, like, I think that Hulk Hogan gets a pass because we're talking about a guy who has never, other than that time, really said any comments. We've never seen him do that in public. We've never heard anybody come out and say something. Come on, it's Hulk Hogan. Somebody would have said something by now. Oh, he tried to rape me or something. Yeah. Something. We would have heard something by now. And, okay, I get that there were comments made against black people, but can I tell you something? You have a daughter.
Yeah.
If you were in a situation with a black guy and it's just me and you may say some things that you don't necessarily mean, but in the heat of the moment, you're kind of like...
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you say in personal conversations that you obviously, you say it because you're not expecting the whole fucking world to hear it.
Exactly.
whether it's right or wrong,
This is where like having a black friend comes into handy, because you can literally say to them, "Look, I need to talk to you about this. By the way, I don't know if I'm being racist about this when I have this conversation." It's kind of funny because I remember, like, there's sometimes where I've had what I call a racist minute with Darrell, and half the time Darrell's like, that's actually about 75% of the time he's like, what was supposed to be racist about that? I'm like, he's like, I feel the exact same way about my race. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to put words in his mouth or anything, but I mean, some of the shit that happened in the library, like, you're talking about like the lowest of the low.
It's one of those deals, and I kind of wanted to go into this also, but I mean, the conversation that you had online when you were talking about Starfire, the new Teen Titans Go, which kind of goes into it. Kind of goes into San Diego Comic-Con.
We could kind of talk about those two.
Because all right, so while we're kind of like on the edge of race, we're talking about racism and stuff like that. So what had happened was, when the Teen Titans Go trailer came out. Now, first, a couple months ago, they had the leaked on-set photos, and they showed Starfire, who was portrayed by an African-American actress, but she had and I'm just going to say, she had like a bad weave in her hair. Like, it's not even like a wig. I mean, and don't get me wrong, even even the Raven character looks like she has a bad wig on. But like a bad weave, like a chintzy looking fur coat kind of a deal, and like these big long hooker boots. And look, for all intents and purposes, she looks like a hooker. I hate to say it, and so then they go, so there was pushback that said, "Oh, well, you don't know what, this was that wasn't a posed photo. This isn't what the studio approved of. This is someone took a picture. It's not like it went through a filter or anything like that. So you don't know what you're talking about, and don't fucking judge or whatever." So then at Comic-Con, first day, like that Thursday of San Diego Comic-Con, they released the trailer where the big thing was, fuck Batman.
Yeah, fuck.
It was Robin saying fuck Batman. But then you see Starfire in the trailer, and you don't see her that much, but she still has the same hair, she still has the same jacket, and it cheapens the character. And of course, yes, the character originally in the comics is more of an orangey character. Yes, the character has big wavy hair, but so.
Well, I was gonna say, so number one, when I'm talking about like something like this situation, it's not about the color of her skin.
That's what, like, okay, I'll go on. You were coming at this like
I was coming at it as like a, what the fuck are you trying to do with this character? Like, I don't care if she's black or white. Just make it look like Starfire. Don't make her look like a goddamn whore. And that's what she does. By the way, if she was a white girl and it looked the exact same thing, I'm going to say the exact same comment.
You say she. It's not like she showed up and says, "Hey, I'm Starfire." Someone had a costume. Someone had a.
Well, that's
someone gave her the clothes. Someone did her hair, and then on top of that, when all was said and done, someone looked at that and said, "Thumbs up."
Right. Well, and here's the other thing too. So apparently, the scene that we keep seeing is she appears and she somehow takes the clothes of a hooker, I guess, is what it is their explanation. And that's why it looks like that. But I'm like, but then I'm like, so then show a different scene of her.
Yeah.
Show her in a different light. So, if you've seen, like, for example, there's the cosplayer that I put up on Facebook. Yeah. Black woman, better look.
Yeah, she had
that's Starfire.
She had
that is a black version of Starfire right there. It works. It's wonderful.
Yeah, she had like the reddish hair that more like this, that's common to the color of the comic books. She had emerald contact lenses in.
Exactly.
And it had nothing to do with the color of the skin. It just had to do with. Okay, so I mean, you saying that like that character, she comes across a prostitute and takes the prostitute clothes. I wasn't aware of that.
I heard that's like. So she came, like, it was like one of those things. Like, apparently it was explained to me that I don't remember who explained this to me on Twitter, but apparently, basically, it was kind of like the whole Terminator kind of deal.
Yeah.
She just like appeared. I don't know if she was naked. I don't think she was naked, but I think like she was trying to blend in.
Mm-hmm.
So she took
the clothes
of a woman, not knowing what it was. So I think that'll kind of be explained in the series. But there again, like...
Yeah, if that's the first impression that most of the fans are getting...
I mean, for me, it's more or less like, if you're going to show a character, show them in their best light. Robin, you showed Robin wonderfully. Fuck Batman. By the way, I like that one meme where he's like, fuck Batman. Then Batman comes up behind him. He's just like, what'd you say, boy? Nothing, Batman. So there's that.
I'm the bitch and you're my daddy.
So you got that, and then you got like Raven. I thought, even though like, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, Raven. The way that Raven looks is kind of building on me. I kind of like the way that she looks.
At first, I mean, look, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It looks like she's wearing a bad wig. With that being said, I mean, but that, that being said, you kind of you swallow a little bit. You understand, like, okay, they're trying to
swallow a little bit.
It's hard to translate from what's on the page or what's animated to real life, and you understand it's not going to look screen accurate. But then again, they could say, how is it that they can make Robin look so good? Mm-hmm. The Robin outfit looks fucking on point.
Yeah,
and so
I think and you got to also understand, like, you also got to talk about, we have Beast Boy, who doesn't, and then who else was in? Cyborg wasn't in it, was he?
No, I think in the center universe, I don't think Cyborg.
Yeah, so it was them. Wasn't there somebody else too?
To the best of my knowledge, I think right now it's just Robin, Raven, Beast Boy, and Starfire.
Okay. Yeah. So my thing about it is like, I mean, they're really not making Beast Boy look any better. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess what the problem is we haven't seen the first episode, and I think that once they bring out that first episode, we'll have a lot more clarity, and then we can go from there. But the point I think that we're trying to make here, Chris, is and this is something this isn't the first time that this has happened with a TV series either. Yeah. You do not, if you're trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to, I guess, advertise a series in the best light. The first thing you do not do is put Starfire out in whorewear and hope to God that everybody likes it.
Well, yeah, that's because you had said you don't like the way she looks. The gentleman who stepped up, and I don't, maybe I won't use his name or whatever. Like, because you weren't coming at it from a direction of being, you're a tool of the racists, and you're what they call a useful idiot, and the racist, like, his point was that, like, there are white supremacist groups and people like that, toxic fans they call them, that are beating down DC.
That was on Facebook, wasn't it?
It was on Facebook, yeah. And so there's all these people who are going against it, but now they're going against it because she's black. Then you're going against it because you don't like the way she looks, and I agree with you. I don't like the way she looks, but he's saying that since your opinion is the same as these white supremacist guys, that you're helping them.
Yeah, but
and I'm not helping. How am I helping the white supremacists if we happen to share the same opinion? I don't like the way she looks. They don't like the way she looks, but for two separate reasons. She looks like a whore. They don't like her because she's black.
Can I tell you something? You see the color of my skin? That's probably why he thought I was a white supremacist.
Well, it's like, how the hell do you jump from, your opinion makes you the tool of the fucking, online white supremacist conspiracy. Like, I'm not that important.
that's the political environment we're in. Yeah. That's why if you've noticed, I don't post anything. I rarely post anything political anymore. Yeah. Because these people jump all over you and they just start using, like, you wear the wrong socks, so you're wrong. Yeah. Like, it's as stupid as that. And it's just like, after a while, you just kind of just get annoyed with it and you're just like, you know what? I'm not going to deal with that today. So
yeah, it's like, it's such a logic leap to go from, I don't like the way Starfire is oh, the white supremacy's using it as a tool, you know. And while we're on Teen Titans, and I haven't seen it.
Young Justice, you mean? Is this where we're going with that?
I believe there's an after credit scene for Teen Titans Go to the Movies, which sort of hints at like a return of the traditional Teen
Apparently,
Titans.
yeah. So
I mean, you know, spoiler alert, but I mean, I can't spoil it because I didn't see it, but I've gotten rumblings on the internet.
So okay, so first of all, before this movie came out, who was it that said that if you go to the movie, if you by supporting this movie,
it was Michael Jelenic, the guy that
you'll be able to get the
supporting this movie
Titans.
will help us get the Teen Titans back. And so, I think Tara Strong kind of, or she either retweeted or she had kind of said the same thing also.
But see, my problem with that is that you have a kids version now that people are accepting, and then you want to flip back to the other one. Now, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. If you want to go back to the other one, that's fine with me. But here's the problem. Now you got this. You got a TV live-action series with Teen Titans. And then on top of that, like that we'll probably talk about in a minute, Young Justice. Mm-hmm. So it's like we're kind of putting too much out in the field here.
We got Titans, we got Teen Titans, and we got Teen Titans Go to Teen Titans Go.
I will accept this. I will only accept this if it goes to one place. Toonami. Okay. I will only accept the new Teen Titans series if it goes to Toonami. That is the only way I will accept it. Actually, you know what? I want to kind of talk about Toonami on here a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm going to be writing an article and I kind of want to talk about it. But do you want to talk about Young Justice? Because that came out of San Diego Comic-Con too. And Aquaman.
Well, yeah, I had Aquaman.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Like Aquaman!
Well,
holy shit!
Do Young Justice first because I have nothing on Young Justice.
So Young Justice, they put out a trailer. They basically they used the first part of it is kind of like showing like the first what was it? I think 3 seasons, 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, 3 seasons. It was.
And then they kind of showed some new stuff. So it looks good. They have new characters. It just. I don't know. It just kind of felt like, I don't know. It didn't feel like it was. I have to see the first episode, I guess. It's, some of these stuff. It's kind of like.
Is it the same animation style?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was just like, kind of felt like it was all over the place, and I'm just like, all right, just give me the first couple episodes. Let me see what they look like, and then we'll go from there. I kind of get the problem with me. And this is kind of connecting that in the live-action series of Teen Titans, is they also announced the DC... what is it called?
Whatever. The online streaming service.
Yeah, the online streaming service.
DC World or
something like that. So, I guess, like... And this is something that I'm going to continue to say, and I probably said it on here 50 times. Same thing on the Toonami Faithful podcast. I'm getting sick and tired of all these fucking goddamn streaming services. And it pisses me off because I want to see these series, but then it's like, no, fuck you. You have to go to the streaming service now.
Well, this is going to be the first one that I'm serious. Like, and don't be wrong, I have nothing against Netflix, but like, this is the first one. Like, I'm, hopefully in a couple months, and I won't get into it right now, but I may be getting a new job soon. But like, when I get a new job and actually have a halfway decent income, I think I may subscribe to this fucking DC service.
And here's the other thing. It's good for you because you read all the comics and shit.
Yeah.
So it's all of that and combined. But I think it was like, if I remember correctly, it's like $179 per year.
No.
That's what it was?
No. It's, I think right now, like if you're like an early subscriber, it's only like $80 for the first year.
Okay.
It's something like, it's like, I want to say...
It's $7.99 per month, I believe, is what the number was.
$8. Yeah, $8. If you did it per month, it's $8 a month, $80 for the year. So you're saving, $16 or whatever.
So I mean, I'm kind of. Well, and okay, so let me connect something else that came out at San Diego Comic-Con too. Along with this, Clone Wars had a new trailer.
Yeah, they had a trailer. I mean,
and the reason I'm connecting that to Young Justice and all this other stuff is because that 12 episode. I guess it's arc of the Clone Wars that connects it to episode 3 in Rebels. Mm-hmm. is only going to be on their streaming service. So it's kind of like I'm sitting here going like, listen, listen, can you guys stop doing this? Like, that's why I kind of like, there's a service called Verve, VRV. I've talked about this with you before. It's not just anime. They're putting SWAT Cats on there. They're putting the new Thundercats on there. Like, I have a nerd boner just by talking about all this shit.
Yeah.
They're bringing everything together. And it's only $10. It's like Netflix kind of thing. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this service and I'm going, these guys know what they're doing. If they can bring a series to them and bring more stuff in like that people want to see, they're going to fucking kill it. And that's the problem. Like, this DC thing, I understand why they're doing it because everybody else is doing it. But this is kind of like what cable did. Remember when we were kids? And we've talked about this before. I know this is kind of like, you're kind of like, Paul, you're going around in a circle here. But you remember when we were kids? There was like, so the local channels were kind of bundled in, but then you could actually choose your channels, and it was like, what, 10 cents more per month and whatever. Then they went to, no, you have to buy these bundles.
Yeah.
So, and I think that now that's kind of backfiring on them. So I think they should go back to that system. But anyways, so like, I think this is kind of what they're doing with these streaming services. Eventually people are going to be like, I don't have enough money to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I can't just go buy CBS Now and Netflix and Hulu and all these other things. And Amazon Prime. Fuck Amazon Prime. Dude, Amazon, like, I could talk about Amazon Prime all day, but I'm not going to go into it. But their service is the worst. Honestly, like, what I'm trying to say here is like...
I like the tick going on.
The tick. But it's like, I don't want to have to go to every single service and get my series. Now, there's a little caveat here. This is where I'm bringing it all around to the final thing here. Netflix the other day. This hasn't happened. This doesn't happen. Licensed out a series to Comedy Central.
Yeah.
BoJack Horseman. First time that's ever happened. So I'm sitting there going, so Voltron, you can put on Adult Swim, right?
Hey.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if Netflix is starting to do that, which, by the way, that's a very intelligent decision. I commend them for that because that's going to generate them more money. If they're not going to advertise shit on their service, they need to start doing that more. Yeah. And I think that's going to be the future of Netflix and these other things, is putting it on TV.
Yeah. Well, like Netflix, it's weird. Like, I watched that Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I watched it on DVD. I got that at the library.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't have Netflix. I wouldn't have, like, illegally downloaded it because I wasn't aware of, you know what I'm saying? I saw the DVD and I said, let me give it a shot. But it's funny, like, Netflix, which was a system that started out with DVDs and went to streaming, but then they're releasing their own, you can see, like, Orange is the New Black on DVD and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. And it's sort of like, it's so funny that, like, they killed one industry, like they're in a Blockbuster and shit like that. But they're like, but if you want to rent the DVDs, we got, or I guess not. I mean, not if you want to buy the DVDs.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's kind of weird because the only place that you can really rent DVDs now is either if there's a mom and pop rental store still left, or Redbox.
Yeah.
Netflix doesn't do that anymore. So it killed an industry, but yet that industry, if they decided to do, I'm sorry, Family Dollar is still, or Family Video is still around. So, and that's kind of like a Blockbuster kind of thing. So, I mean, you kind of killed an industry, but then that industry could come back easily if they wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they could kill, like, Redbox very easily if they wanted to. But, they just don't want to do that. And honestly, like, for me, it's, it's just too much. Too much now. Like, I just want to, if I want to see my Young Justice, I just want to see it all together. Like, I should be able to just take these shows and put them on a thing.
Everybody wants their bite at the apple, and they're going to kill streaming services the way cable itself is getting killed.
Oh, and there's another thing we can talk about too, but that's outside of. We'll get to that a little bit later. That was announced the other day that I want to talk about.
And then we'll be back with more dick and fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc., 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds? Necrophilia. It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, Prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am, in the most sincerest of senses, disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this movie.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. Watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
little
popping
history
up.
doll popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped from watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was going to be a rough
How did you watch
one.
this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. You can leave the pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-n-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com. And now for listeners of Two Strangers, One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
All right, so right before we went to break, you got really excited about Aquaman.
Oh, Aquaman.
And I got to tell you, now, of course, this movie's been in production for a little while now. But when I saw the trailer, I was like, Wet Panther. It's Black Panther underwater. Not that that's a bad thing. Black Panther was, at least like this movie looks like it's fun. It looks inventive. The story itself is fucking paint by numbers.
You've seen the video online where they compare the two. But then I'm like, you're taking that way out of context because that is not how the trailer is for Aquaman. Because there's a shitload more scenes than what you've put it. I get that they connected it and they've done that really well. And I commend the guy that did that. But there's still two more minutes of footage that you didn't even put in there. So
I'm just saying, it's when I saw the first time I saw the Aquaman trailer, even before the comparison video, I'm like, this is Black Panther underwater. And not that that's a bad thing. Black Panther was a good movie. Aquaman, and then plus, don't get me wrong, as much as I like Black Panther, it was a good movie, he really wasn't the star of the movie. He was sort of he's like a passenger in his own world. If anything, his sister was the breakout star in that movie. Yeah. So, Jason Momoa playing a character that's supposed to be fun and interesting and stuff like that, I'm all in. Fucking sharks with fucking saddles on them.
That's gonna do so well. I'm not even kidding you. That movie, there's no reason why that movie shouldn't be the one that wins Christmas. There's no Star Wars. Mm-hmm. That's gonna be the movie. That and Creed are gonna do really well during Christmas time. I'm excited for that. But here's the thing that makes me laugh. I watch a trailer and I started laughing after it, and I'm just like, so why didn't you just do this before Justice League?
Yeah.
And then Justice League would have done so much better. Because here's the thing. Wonder Woman did so much better than Justice League. I guarantee you, if Aquaman is as good as the trailer subscribes, and we know that sometimes can't happen.
Sure.
This could do better than Justice League 2, and I think it will. My problem with that is you guys should have waited. You should have fucking waited. And just let these standalone movies come out, brought them all together, and then we wouldn't have had a problem.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, they're learning from their mistakes. They're lightening up the movie. They're lightening up the universe and stuff like that.
Here's my question. Do you think... what's his name? He's going to be doing Batgirl. He was part
Joss
of...
Whedon.
Joss Whedon. Do you think he's had his hands in this a little bit?
I think he might have backed out. I think he's like... He was going to do it, but I think he officially backed out.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's... they're... The DC movies, like, right now, like... I like the direction they're going because we have Wonder Woman 84 coming out next year. That looks like it's going to be fun.
Well, I just got like a press release for,
and there's
Justice League Throne of Atlantis, a commemorative edition. So they're getting this out just before November. So do you see where this is going?
Gotcha.
So
I mean, so you got Aquaman and you got Wonder Woman coming out soon enough where and Shazam. That was the other trailer that came out where I mean it looks fun. They made the movie for like 50 cents from what I understand. Like they made the movie for dirt cheap. So like that movie is going to recoup its profits. But I like the fact that they're taking the universe and lightening it up. And everyone's like, because of Marvel. Yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. Marvel. That's the reason Marvel fucking owns the box office. Why not take from Marvel? You got your own IP, make it fun. And then it's like, I would love in these movies where, like, if in Shazam, and I think I kind of heard, I saw like an article, like, please let Superman just do a 2-second cameo in Shazam. Just to be like, because the idea behind Shazam is it's a little kid who gets powers, and the reason he looks so ridiculous is because that's how a kid sees a superhero with big muscles and primary colored suit and stuff like that.
So another caveat to kind of add to why they shouldn't have done Justice League so early is I think it's too close to when they ended the trilogy with Batman. I think that kind of affected it too. Because a lot of people really, really wanted Nolan's Batman to be involved in this universe, and I kind of think that hurt it. So, I think that Shazam will probably do okay. I don't see it doing very, very well. Aquaman, I think, is going to do extremely well. I think that though they should have kind of just put the brakes on it and just let it settle for a little bit, and then brought back in.
Let them have fun now. Let them make Shazam. Let them make Wonder Woman. Let them make Aquaman. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of them doing like 2 different Joker movies. Like, there's one that's totally not connected to the universe at all. It's like a Joker origin movie. Which, I mean, if it's like, the Joker story, the One Bad Day Joker story, the Red Hood sort of. I mean, I
feel like
just wait. You could do this movie. We have a universe where there's a dead Robin. There's.
I kind of feel like that movie is kind of like faded into the foreground more than the other one with Jared Leto. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like that one's they're kind of like, this is a good idea, but let's see how this one does first, kind of deal. Because there was a lot of backlash about him not being the Joker, because we get into this situation where we decide that we're going to change people, and I really commend people these days, because if we had this kind of shit back in the day, we wouldn't have had 50 different Batmans. Okay. where they sit there and they go, no, you're going to keep the same guy or we're not watching your fucking movie. Mm-hmm. And then they change the person and then nobody goes to the movie. So that's why, like, you know, I really commend people for actually standing up these days and being like, no, we want Jared Leto as Joker. Let's see what he can do with a standalone movie. And I think that's great. I think they should do that. I think they should do... they're supposed to do. I thought a Harley movie they were supposed to do.
Yeah, first it was like a Harley Quinn and Joker movie. Then there was the Gotham Sirens, which was Harley Quinn, Catwoman, and Poison Ivy.
Yeah,
you know, and seeing that we already had like a Suicide Squad movie, we had a movie that was just all villains. Like they could do a Gotham Sirens movie.
I think they, but there again, like maybe we should introduce Poison Ivy and Catwoman before we start doing a Sirens movie, you know. But I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
I mean, that's what I make these movies, but kind of like with the Marvel movies, let people cameo in them. Let Superman be in Shazam.
Well, The Rock is supposed to be
Black Adam.
Black Adam, but is he going to be in the Shazam movie? Or is he going to be in a Superman movie?
I would love for them just to give him a cameo, post-credit scene. You know what I'm saying? Give me some, get us excited for because people are gonna, now that you're establishing that edge of the universe of Shazam, The Rock could just slide right into it, and do all the Rock things that The Rock does.
So I think we kind of, I mean, if you don't have anything more about that, I have something that happened the other day that I kind of wanted to get in here before our time is up here.
Oh, okay. No, go on.
So, when was this? This was, I want to say, maybe over the weekend. Whenever the Star Trek convention went on in Vegas. Mm-hmm. I think it was over the weekend. All of a sudden, so this was rumored. Uh-huh. But all of a sudden, social media just, like, exploded. Uh-huh. They're going to make Jean-Luc Picard movie. And I had like a nerd boner for the rest of the day when I heard that fucking shit. Like, I'm just sitting there like, I'm like, yes! So, but the only thing I don't like about it is it's supposed to be, because I went back and I watched all the videos from when he was talking. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to, apparently it's going to be 20 years later. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know about this. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, yeah, but I want to see the Enterprise E. No, like, like, don't do this to me. Like, don't fucking do this to me. Like,
I kind of like the idea of, because, okay, you set a show in the Star Trek universe that's not Starfleet. And I think that would be an interesting dynamic, because especially now, like, he's like retirement age, or he's an elder statesman.
Yeah.
And one, I'm just happy to see that universe progress.
Well, yeah, because that's the prime universe of Star Trek that should be continuing.
Yeah.
Whereas we have this other universe, which is in the movies now, which is a
J.J. Abrams.
It's alternate universe, basically.
Yeah. Shit. There's a name for it. It's the
Abrams universe or something.
Well, I mean, it's the Abrams universe, but there's a specific name for it. It's a company that Abrams uses, like, in all his movies. Like, there's like a store or a company that's always like even in the background, and so they call that verse. I can't believe I forgot the name. But so with that being said, like, one, I'm glad, I want that universe to progress. I want to see other futures, but also the same way, like, Deep Space Nine was, you're out in the middle of fucking nowhere, even though it's Starfleet, you're Starfleet in the middle of nowhere, and Voyager, once again, you're kind of Starfleet but in the middle of nowhere. I kind of like the idea of it's fluid enough where, of course, if they have John, of course they're gonna have an episode. Riker's gonna come and do a cameo, and Data's gonna come and do a cameo, and all that.
Right, and then they're probably gonna flash back to the Enterprise E several times.
But I want a guy that I want a fucking I want a bitter old captain. I want a guy that doesn't want to deal with this bullshit anymore.
I kind of want to see an admiral.
Pull me back in.
I want to see an admiral, Jean-Luc Picard.
Picard. Yeah. See, I want a guy that, like, he said, fuck this. I'm gonna go live on this fucking asteroid. You know,
I
go
think-
do his Luke Skywalker thing on this.
Have you seen there was the last episode of Next Generation where he's an old man, he's in the fields and everything. I think it's going to kind of be something like that. They'll probably go back to kind of something like that, but this is him just because in that episode he's starting to he's kind of losing his mind. But Q has obviously I think stabilized him so that way he can whatever, but they're all sitting there going, no, that's your disease. Why are you being crazy? And then they finally sit there and go, wait a minute, he's actually telling the truth. So, I'm excited for it, but here's yet another fucking series that you can't see unless you go to CBS Now's thing. And for me, again, it's like, by the way, I will be honest with you, I checked out CBS Now. Their service is not that bad. And I don't understand how Netflix still has the rights to play it, but it's probably because they sit there and they go, no. Star Trek does really well on our service. You're not taking that. And I'll be honest with you. I keep watching Deep Space Nine. I don't know what it is. it's just obsessed. I'll go back to Voyager, watch them. Next Generation, I liked it as a kid, but I'm kind of like, as I watch it now, I'm kind of like, it's not as good as Voyager and Deep Space Nine.
The first two seasons were garbage. As much as I love Next Generation. The first two seasons, it took them a while to get their feet on the ground. Once they got their feet on the ground, it was awesome. But the first two seasons, you want to fucking
it's kind of the same thing with like
the Wesley season,
Deep Space Nine and Voyager, because the early seasons of those were kind of like, and then like you get. Like in Deep Space Nine, you get to define. You're like, yeah, look at this ship. Like, look at him like tear through this goddamn ship. My only problem was with Star Trek, and I've always hated this shit. And I honestly think they should go back and they should do something like this. Is have more of an action-packed series where you're just fucking things up the whole like every single episode. You're fucking people up. That's the only thing that these people do. Like have some kind of like NCIS Star Trek or something where you're going in and like fucking people up all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I want something, like, go back to the Dominion Wars and have, like, side stories from the Dominion Wars. I think that would be incredible. I also think that they should do, there's two things that I want them to do, other than that. Deep Space Nine, bring back Cisco. Just do, like, a movie or something, a TV movie or something. And then the other thing is they spun off from the movie into, like, a bunch of books about Riker's adventures on his new ship. Like, that should be a new series. I think that would be an interesting thing to see. I mean, he's older now, so you kind of would have to probably maybe, like, do it as, like, have it like the ship. You're supposed to be like, oh, wait, yeah, he's been doing this for a while. And then come into it. But I think that, I kind of want to see that kind of thing. And I kind of want to see in the Jean-Luc Picard series, I kind of want to see an Admiral Riker. I want to see... like maybe he does have an Enterprise. That would be the interesting thing to see if he gets the Enterprise eventually. Not the Enterprise E, obviously. At that point, it'd probably be like Enterprise F or whatever.
Oh, Riker?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, you could bring back all those people in the Picard series.
No, I can't see them not bringing any of those guys back. I can't see them not doing it. I think this is the perfect time to do it, and this is CBS is doing things correctly in this sense. I'm still a little pissed at them that they won't let anybody do fan films, but I think that they are starting to kind of progress into these other spin-offs, and I think that is the right thing to do, honestly. I just want to see more. By the way, there's also, for anybody that's listening to this, like there's a YouTube, I think it's I can't think of the name of it, but if you type in Star Trek, there's an actual, like, I think it's like 15 to 20 minutes of this fan-made thing where they're talking about it's funny because it's like a documentary. It's not a documentary, but it's a documentary as if you were a Federation officer and watching something. It has one of the characters from Enterprise, which again I think they should continue that series. I thought that was they cut that off way too soon, but that's another conversation for another day. Do they have anybody else in there? They had some other actors that are known, but like they weren't like part of a Deep Space Nine or something. I don't think. So, no, that one guy was part of one. Two of them were definitely part of. I think they were both Klingons, but you wouldn't know that because you don't know what they look like, whatever. So, but yeah, they actually sued them, and they went, "You're not supposed to do this. We told you people you can't do fan films." Here's the problem: you can't get around the rule. They can't just sit there and go, "You can't make a fan film," when there's what's the law? Like you can make a comedy of it, right? But you can't.
Well, you can make a parody, and I think you're okay with you can do fan films as long as you're not making money off of it.
Yeah, I don't think they're making any money off of it either. It's just really weird because it's like this is something like literally there's some fan stuff out there. Like if you were to take their ideas, pay them, and just throw them out of the way. And just take that idea and do what you got to do. I think that honestly, that's exactly what needs to happen. You know what I mean? So it's just just let the fans do what they want. Star Wars doesn't have a problem with it. Why do you? Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to talk about real quick before we get out of here?
Before we wrap this up, okay, let's see. I just wanted to talk real quick about John Schnepp, the guy who passed away.
Oh, yeah.
I had met him at 2 separate Comic-Cons.
Last Comic-Con we went to.
Yeah, the last Comic-Con. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, he didn't look that great. Like that second Comic-Con, last year, he looked a little out of it when I spoke to him. I mean, I spoke to him for a minute and I shook his hand and whatever, but 2 years ago, and I think what I'm going to do is I have him doing an intro for the show. So I'll probably put it in this episode. I don't know if it's in bad taste or whatever. But, when I met him, he autographed 2 different... He gave me an autograph, 2 posters. It was promoting his documentary, Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, with Kevin Smith, who wrote the original scripts for Superman Lives. It's a great documentary. I definitely tell people, if you're interested in Superman at all... because there's those online pictures of Nick Cage wearing the Superman suit.
Somebody must really love you.
Yeah. Nick Cage wearing the Superman suit and everyone's like, oh, look, he looks stupid or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, that was when you watch the movie, you realize that was just test footage of one suit. And there were 50 different suits and there was so much, they hired so many artists for concept art and, had the movie been made, it actually probably would have been pretty good. And what kills me is that him and Kevin Smith were going to continue that documentary series in a TV show where they were going to go after a bunch of other different movies that weren't made. Because I think there was a Justice League movie they were going to make in the 90s that was attached to some big director. They were going to do a whole show where each episode they were going to go into different movies that weren't made and what happened and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let me see. So a moment of silence for John Schnepp. And with John Schnepp, he was part of Metalocalypse on Adult Swim. I believe he had a bit of some influence with like Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Space Ghost Coast to Coast, or at least in the background, like I think he was like a low level guy there, Collider movie reviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he was a good fucking dude, and it's a real shame that he's not with us anymore. He was a heavy set guy. He kind of called his fans sweaties, like fat people with sweat in their nerves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So and he obviously, he called himself morbidly obese and stuff like that. He used to goof about that online. So it's a damn shame that he's gone. Okay, the couple things I wanted to talk about real quick. Castle Rock. I've been watching Castle Rock. I mean, I don't have Hulu Plus, but I've been, it's been falling off a truck, and I've been watching them. The first 3 episodes are fucking awesome. The last 2 episodes weren't so great. It's a universe that kind of exists in Stephen King's universe. It's funny, the first 2 or 3 episodes kind of have like little references here and there, but then like 4 and 5, they kind of fall off. And I don't think because they don't have Stephen King references, the show's trying to be its own thing.
Right.
It's in the town of Castle Rock, where Castle Rock is a fake town that he puts in a lot of his stories. And it's a town where evil and fucked up shit happens, but like people kind of turn a blind eye. Like, you know, the guy murdered his whole family, and then everyone's sort of like the next day, like, oh well, it doesn't become a big to do, and so it's like either the evil's clouding people's memories, or the evil's happening, but people don't even see it and stuff like that. So it's a weird, fucked up town, and like the first step, it's not really spoiling too much. They find this guy, and it's the kid who plays Pennywise in the current It movie. He was locked in a cage in like the basement of a prison. The prison, and this is the first episode, so it isn't really spoiling too much. The guy who runs the prison, Shawshank, in a modern day, and it's a privatized prison, he kills himself.
Right.
And then they're doing an investigation and this stuff, like, they're looking through his stuff, and it turns out he had this guy locked in a cage in the basement of the prison. But then they try to ID the guy and fingerprint him, and he's not coming up in any database, and he only says the name of one guy. He says Henry Deaver. And Henry Deaver is a kid who grew up he was a black kid raised, adopted by a pastor and his wife. And then the pastor and the son went on like a hunting trip or something like that in the snow. And the guy the pastor got like fucked up, almost killed. And then, he said like they feel like, but then now mind you, they went hunting like in like minus 40-degree weather,
right?
And the kid was missing for 11 days, and the kid should have been dead, and the father was almost dead. But then like there's rumor, they think the kid tried to like kill the father and stuff like that. So once again, I'm really only spoiling the first episode, but then the mystery gets a lot more deeper than that. Like I said, the last couple episodes, and then Godzilla. The new Godzilla, it looks good. I personally don't give a shit about Godzilla, so, King Ghidorah looks good, Mothra looks good. I really don't care. This is obviously just a stepgap so they can have Godzilla meet King Kong in another couple of years when they finally make that movie.
Right.
So,
so if I can just interject real quick, the one thing I didn't like about that trailer, I'm going to be honest with you, is the fact that they're like, oh, we have to bring back all the monsters in order to save the Earth. And I'm like... okay. I'm like, but won't they destroy it even more now? Like I can understand maybe if you had like Mothra being like, bring back Mothra and he's like, the wings like restore the Earth or something. Like, okay, all right, I get it. It's, they're trying to do something like the Japanese, but it's like, I need to bring back all the monsters. Oh, and that means all the bad ones too. What?
Yeah. I don't, yeah.
Huh? Like, I don't understand it. So I guess that's, again, it's like one of those ones where you just got to go, all right, I'll watch it and see what the fuck happens. But, like, I'm just like, I just don't understand where you're trying to go with this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to.
It's an excuse to bring back all the fucking monsters. I really don't care. And then also, real quick, Glass, the Unbreakable Split sequel. Looks fucking awesome.
It does.
It's a psychiatrist saying that the superheroes are people with delusions thinking that they're superheroes. One thing I really thought was cool is that like they show like these systems in the guy's cells, and if you remember, Bruce Willis's character, his weakness was water.
Yeah.
There's like a sprinkler system by his door, so I guess like if he starts acting up and like he's gonna rip the door off, like the sprinkler system like probably sprays him with water to kind of like keep him back away from the door and stuff like that. So I thought that was I think the kid with Split, they had like high intensity flash things. Like I think like if he has like a seizure or something like that, like he can't be strong or anything.
Yeah.
I would really like to see the kid from The Sixth Sense be brought into the movie where he sees dead people, so that's like sort of his superpower. But once again, it looks cool. I'm super excited about it. I'll probably do all the outro stuff. I'll record later at home. And so, anything else?
No, that's it. I mean,
we certainly hope you guys We certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening and had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye. You should be fapping.
Obviously. But I think we're coming up on our time here.
Yeah, so let's wrap it up.
That's what she said.
Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net where you can find all things show related. You can find links to our iTunes page. So if you have an iPhone, an iPad, or an iPod, you can download them and subscribe to us on all those devices. If you don't have an OS device, Mac OS device, you can. If you have an Android phone, you can listen to us on the Stitcher app. That's STITCHER, the Stitcher app for Android devices. Listen offline, listen later, download when you're in Wi-Fi. I forgot the option, but that's what I do, so you don't kill your data or kill your battery. You can find Paul's other baby, the Toonami Faithful podcast.
Damn fucking straight.
On the Stitcher app. I used to say you could hear Kevin Smith's Modcast and Chris Hardwick's Nerdist, but not anymore. Not Chris Hardwick anymore. I mean, it's still technically on Stitcher, but he ain't putting out any more new episodes especially after the last episode where I was like, I'm so happy. And the last episode he did was for the Cobra Kai YouTube Red series, and it's funny. I have it on my phone and I want to listen to it, but I want to sit back and revel and of course, on all devices, we are available on the SoundCloud app. That's our main hosting site. I do make the episodes available for download, so it depends on the device that you have, but you can download the episodes, but you can listen to them on Stitcher. On SoundCloud. If you want to write us like Oscar has, you can write us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com, all spelled out, twostrangersonepodcast.com. We want your money. We need your money, but if you can't give us a dime, you could at least like this episode, share it on your page, like our page, facebook.com/twostrangersonepodcast. Once again, all spelled out. Like the page, like this particular episode on your social media. Get the word out, because even if you can't give us a dime, at least sharing it gives us props. A shout out to Tommy B, to Chris Mounts, of course, Oscar, loyal listeners and long-time listeners. If anybody else wants to get a shout out or anything, come hit us up on the page or anything like that. We're technically on Twitter, but I was trying to get that resolved. But we are on Stranger Podcast. You can go on YouTube and listen to our older episodes. The other 6 years worth of a podcast are pretty much on there. Anything that's not on the SoundCloud, you can go back and listen to all the horrible episodes that Oscar said were. And you can listen to my book, Odd I See A Tale from the Road, also on our YouTube page. And that's it. I acquiesce.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Paul Pascrillo. You can email me. It's paulpascrillo@ToonamiFaithful.com. Oscar knows how to do that. And if you are part of the Discord, the Toonami Discord, or I should say the Toonami Faithful Discord, you can just add me at Paul Pascrillo. I am on there as well. And that's it.
All right. Well, before this episode, we were like, I don't know what the fuck we're going to talk about, but somehow we pulled an hour and 15 minutes out of our ass. Thank you for listening. We certainly hope you had as much fun listening as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye. Shut that bitch.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I got to meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia is spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea, man.
Is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15 is not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne right now.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.